it's not like she's just doing whatever Uncle Damie does.
He clearly doesn't have that much power.
Well, exactly.
You know what I mean. This is now
okay.
This is now becoming a pattern. This is now becoming a pattern of impotence, and I'm not sure if it's trying to establish that he's so in his head all the time that it's really what he's thinking about that distracts him. Like if he's really so ambitious that he's like, this isn't going the way that I want it to, or something hasn't gone my way. If that's why, or if he actually is simply impotent. And I mean, this is a show, this is a television show, so like they only have so much time and so many opportunities to show us, characters in these situations. I feel like now that this has happened twice, and we've seen this happen twice, is he just does he have Westerosi ED?
Wait, so you read that scene as impotence? Because I read it as an intentional pulling back. Like he was fucking with her.
No, he punched the wall. I feel like he couldn't do it.
Well, probably because she's his niece.
Well, I can see both directions. If you look at it as him sort of winding her up and then walking away.
Which is how I first read it.
If he just wants her reputation to be ruined, so she's, compromised in the eyes of the kingdom, so Viserys has to marry her off to him, then he'd kind of already done the damage by walking her through a town where spies were going to see her.
He doesn't have to literally...
But from the other perspective, and sort of back to Cassie's email, I think it's a shifting power dynamic because Daemon's very much leading the charge at the beginning of the interaction. He's the one who initiates it. But you see that power and the passion shift, where by the end of it, Rhaenyra is absolutely the aggressor.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And once she takes control over things, because he has had control this entire night. He gave her the note of how to sneak out. He led her through this place she's never even walked through. He protected her. He showed her the city. But the second she tried to take control of it, he kind of panicked and backed off.
Well, I was going to say, is it that if it is impotence, is it a result of he was not expecting her to show interest or aggression, which is another fun, gross thing, but you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like maybe that's not what he was prepared for, and so he was like, "Oh, I don't know what to do with that."
I mean, if you really dig into it, right? Like they're fond of each other, right? They get along, and maybe he initially did want to do this thing to really humiliate her, or something, or to humiliate Viserys, really, and make his life harder for marrying her off. But I thought that after episode 3, we might see Daemon really sort of throwing his weight around now that dam had been broken, where he doesn't cross the line, of doing something great or something that he can't turn back from. But he does that again here. This is the same as him almost cutting Kristen Cole's ankle, but not doing it. This is the same as him. That pattern that we've talked about several times through episode 1 and 2, where he gets so close to doing the dastardly deed, but then doesn't.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Do you think he does see the consequences of his actions, where he kind of pulls back? He knows he doesn't want to be the dog who catches the car. He doesn't want his brother to actually kill him or really exile him.
Right.
Because that would suggest some level of maturity or self-awareness that I wouldn't otherwise ascribe to him.
Yeah, I mean, and that's exactly like, it's difficult because I can't just say he's entirely, impetuous and a child, a man maybe, right? Because he has these plans, it's just he doesn't have the follow through. And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, because the lack of the follow through has saved his character from being irredeemable 3 or 4 times.
Right.
And even if it's not him choosing to pull back, he's helped by the fact that every single person in this show is playing some sort of game. There are always multiple schemes running at the same time, and they have such extended third and fourth order effects, where ultimately in this episode, Daemon kind of seducing Rhaenyra and kind of ruining her reputation ends up getting Otto fired. Like when Otto woke up that morning, he didn't see that on his bingo card.
No. Well, this is another thing I'm wondering, and this is sort of, I want to come back to talking more about agency because that's an interesting idea, but I'm wondering if Daemon knows about Otto's spy network and if he intended for Rhaenyra to be seen at this brothel. Like, as a way, if he's trying to ruin her reputation by doing this, then he would want her to be seen.
Yeah.
So I wonder if there's some sort of, maybe not that he's working with Otto, because I don't really see that happening, but him being more aware than he's letting on. I don't know. Nope. All right, that's fine.
No. I was trying to give Tristan.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm marinating on it. I agree, because it's not explicit that Daemon knows about these spies, but I mean he took her to a brothel, and he knows, and he must know, that all of those the prostitutes in the brothel are going to talk, right? And he knows that that's going to get out beyond. I mean, there were like dozens of people in there, right? And they're all gonna seeing the literal princess of the entire realm in
Especially
a whorehouse is going to be
off.
big news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like that act means that he knew what he was doing in letting people know that she was there. As to whether or not he knew that there were spies is maybe inconsequential, because he knew that there were going to be people in there and get word out and would get word out regardless.
I loved that we saw like 2 or 3 scenes of Daemon waking up the next morning being so out of it and drunk and kind of discombobulated, because when you're like that, you don't have all of your schemes at the tip of your tongue. And him being dragged back to Viserys and being interviewed at knife point, the fact that he immediately had the plan that he like vomited back at Viserys of, well, now her reputation's ruined anyway, so just marry her off to me. The fact that he had that so ready suggests to me that, yes, this was a plan, and everything he did last night was to get us to this point. Because I don't think he could have walked in a straight line, but he knew this plan. So I think it was very much intentional.
Well, here's another thing. Perhaps I'm wondering now, if this is part of some larger plan, which I think it is. You said he was like super drunk when he's hungover when he woke up. Perhaps maybe we can redeem him a bit more. Maybe he doesn't want to have sex with his niece. Maybe he had to get himself super drunk to get there so that he could do this thing to mess up her reputation. No, you don't think so?
No, he's been giving her eyes since the pilot.
No, I know. I'm just trying to help make him not
No,
so
he's
much of a
super.
creep.
He's super is down to sleep with his niece.
Yeah, I
He's
know.
super down for
It's
that.
gross. It's gross.